The fitness world can be a complete jungle when it comes to diets, with everyone pushing a different technique or a magical diet that will solve all your fitness problems. Some of them are right, some of them are wrong, but more than often than not, the truth is that it just depends. In this video, I want to help you create a nutrition plan using tangible metrics like your macros and your calories. You can still use whichever diet you want, whether it's keto, fasting, high carb, vegan, or something else. But I'll give you a macro and a calorie counting formula that will help you build strength and muscle mass. In one of my earlier videos, I started off by talking about all the different diets floating around in the world of nutrition. And I'm going to do that again. Why? Well, because it will inform you on how to execute your training program, and you need to consider the limitations you might be imposing on yourself before you can create a real nutrition plan. I'm a strong believer in the idea that your diet is just a strategy. With the expectations on some extremely restrictive diets, most mainstream diets can do a great job of keeping you healthy and helping you build muscle. So I still won't be telling you that you need to be on a specific diet. Of course, your macros and calories being on point is a requirement and not optional. That's especially true when you're trying to build muscle mass. I'm going to share formulas for calculating your macros and calories and then show you how you can use that knowledge regardless of your diet strategy, vegan, keto, or whatever it is. By the way, do you want to get in the best shape of your life? Good news. You can do that with me because I have a training app. Even better news is that I'm running several challenges a year when you can win amazing prizes. So if you're ready to make a change, sweat together, and be part of my community, download the app. The link is in the description. There's a big chance that I'm running a challenge very soon, depending on when you're watching this video. So I'll see you over there. Counting calories doesn't have to be for weight loss. They play a crucial role in giving your body fuel, which means that they also have a role to play in your body's ability to build muscle. Usually you hear people talk about calories in the context of calories in, calories out as a weight loss method. But that's not the only type of calorie control. There are three ways to control your calories: a deficit, a surplus, or maintenance. If you're in a deficit, you're eating fewer calories than what you're burning, and vice versa for a surplus. Maintenance means that you're eating around the same number of calories that you're burning. You don't have to be in any of these states to build muscle, but they do have implications on how much muscle you will build, how fast, and how sustainably you can do it. For example, if you're in a deficit, you might be exhausted faster than you would otherwise, which can have an impact on how often you hit the gym and how long you spend there. I use a simple formula when I work with my clients to determine what calories they should target. Take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 15. This is how many calories you should eat to be at maintenance, which means this is how much you need to eat to gain muscle mass while also gaining fat. So at 200 pounds, that would be 3,000 calories per day. Remember, this is obviously a bit individual, but start with multiplying your body weight with 15, and then you can make adjustments as you go along. If you want to just focus on gaining weight and the maximum amounts of muscle without worrying about fat gain, then multiply by 17. So at 200 pounds, that will be 3,400 calories a day. Whether it's because of fat loss, fat gain, or muscle gain, I suggest weighing yourself every 4 weeks or so. This way you can make changes to your calorie target as your body changes. Now we have a calorie goal made for you, and we know how to readjust it along the way. After this comes the hardest part, incorporating it into your day-to-day life. The easiest thing is to follow recipes that have nutrition information and serving sizes already specified, because they have done the math for you, or to make very simple meals. If you cook most of your own food without following a recipe, you might want to invest in a cheap kitchen scale to make the process easier. Thankfully, we all carry computers around in our pockets nowadays. Calorie and macro counting is way easier when you use a calorie or a macro counting app. I know a lot of people are using MyFitnessPal, but my personal favorite is actually the Carbon app. These types of apps have built-in databases with calorie information, which makes things far easier. A good rule to have on hand is that protein contains 4 calories per gram, carbs 4 calories, and fat 9 calories per gram. This will help with calculating macros, which is what we're going to talk about next. Macros aren't optional if you want to build muscle. Macros, short for macronutrients, are split into 3 groups: protein, fat, and carbs. Protein acts as the building blocks for muscle and tissue in the body. Naturally, you need to get enough protein if you want to see muscle growth. I know that some people are only looking at calories or are roughly guessing how much protein they're getting. You really should be running the numbers, especially if you aren't seeing progress. Even if it feels like you're eating a lot of protein, it can still be too little for the growth that you want. Personally, I never compromise on protein, even if I'm making a cut. I keep the protein the same. This is especially important when your goal is building muscle mass or even just retaining what you have while losing weight. Either way, you need to be getting enough protein. I eat 1 gram per pound body weight in a day. For someone who weighs 200 pounds, that means 200 grams in a day. And yes, that's what I recommend for women too. If you look at celebrities that I work with, like Gal Gadot, Katy Perry, Alicia Vikander, they were all able to build a very toned but still feminine physique. Again, I don't cut protein even when I'm trying to lose weight. Instead, I cut fat and carbs so I can meet both my calorie and macro goals. I recommend you do the same if you want to keep or make gains. Now that you have a calorie target and a protein target, you can use them to finish planning your nutrition strategy. I usually suggest planning your meals around a core protein, and then you can add vegetables and micronutrients and carbs and fat as necessary for fuel. This way you can focus on making sure that your meals are protein rich and keeping your protein intake stable. For example, you might decide to eat a certain amount of salmon based on what you have in your fridge to reach your protein goal. Now you can add to that maybe some asparagus, green beans, maybe some rice or potatoes for the carbs, depending on how many calories you have left in your budget. Those vegetables that I mentioned, whether they come in the form of asparagus, green beans, or something else entirely, are very important. Veggies are often high in fibers and vitamins, but low in calories, which means it can help your body get the nutrients it needs while filling out your meal at the same time. So now you know your macros, your calories, and maybe even have a specific diet you want to try out. I'll show you how to calculate calories and macros regardless of what that diet is. Let's use the example of a person who weighs 200 pounds again. If they don't want to gain weight, they have a budget of 3,000 calories per day, and they need to eat about 200 grams of protein in a day. That much protein adds up to 800 calories. Remember, protein is 4 calories per gram. So out of their 3,000 calorie budget, subtract 800 for protein, and you have 2,200 left to divide between carbs and fat. Now, depending on your specific dieting strategy, you can start planning your meals. You should eat a mixture of carbs and fat, eat higher carbs or low fat, or high fat or low carbs. Up to you. The results will be the same as long as you stick to your macros and calorie budget. This person could eat 200 grams of protein at 800 calories plus 450 grams of carbs at 1,800 calories and 45 grams of fat at 405 calories for a total of 3,005 calories. Or they could eat 200 grams of proteins at 800 calories and only 40 grams of carbs at 160 calories and 225 grams of fat at 2,025 calories for a total of 2,985 calories. These are both completely viable dieting strategies, at least from a perspective of building muscle, because they reach the protein goal while staying within the target for calories. My final answer for what diet you should choose is whichever you can maintain the easiest. For me, that means organizing my meals in batches of 20. 17 out of 20 meals I keep on point, healthy, clean. The remaining 3 meals I eat whatever I want, unless I'm on a very strict diet in which I try to keep those meals reasonable. I don't love strict diets, and I know I'm not alone in that, which is why it's important to choose something that's genuinely feasible for you, and then stick with it. I hope that helped you guys understand how nutrition works and maybe give you some tips for applying to your own nutrition plan. Getting in shape for the end of the summer or for the rest of your life doesn't have to be complicated. Take your weight, multiply by 15 or 17, make sure to eat enough protein, and calculate the remaining calories you need to consume. Those are the 3 steps. Then you can pick whatever diet or strategy that suits you. And execute. If your goal is to get shredded for the summer, lose body fat, and gain or keep muscle mass, we haven't talked about that, but do not worry. I have another video for you. If you click this video, then I'm gonna explain to you what you need to be doing, how to calculate your macros and calories to get shredded. Have fun.